Jackson, a man now faces a murder charge for the death of his girlfriend last year. What the victim's son told us about the arrest.
A threat found on the Eastern Kentucky University campus has now sparked a public safety alert.
Everybody in here knew him and everybody liked him.
How friends are remembering a man investigators say died in a Rockcastle County house fire.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 6.
Good evening to you. It was a gruesome discovery. A woman's remains found in two places along the Kentucky River. Now, months later, Lexington police have charged her boyfriend with killing her.
Police have arrested that man, 59-year-old Paris Charles. He's charged with murder and abuse of a corpse for the death of Goldia Massey last fall. Police have been at Charles' house on Chatsworth Drive all day. And that's where Victor Puente joins us live with our top story at 6. Victor?
Well, the mobile crime lab was here most of the day. We saw investigators remove some pretty large pieces of evidence. They told me they still had work to do and wouldn't comment on how this location ties into the death of Goldia Massey. Massey was reported missing in October by her son. A few weeks later, her arm was found in Henry County, her torso in Jessamine County. Now Lexington police say 59-year-old Paris Charles is the man who killed her. They arrested him this morning, charging him with murder and abuse of a corpse. Massey's son, Zachariah, spoke to us about the arrest from jail, where he's being held on a robbery charge.
Really just relief that something's finally happening. It's been a long time coming. Just glad to get the show on the road, so to speak.
Investigators spent hours removing evidence from Charles's home. They also towed his truck. His neighbors say they remember Massey because she once went door to door asking to use someone's phone after she and Charles had gotten into a fight.
And she was running. When she came here to use my phone, she was wanting to call the police on him.
Fayette County court records show that Charles has had multiple domestic violence cases, but none of the cases we found involved Massey. Her son says if Charles is guilty, he deserves whatever he gets.
My mom always told me to forgive people. I mean, I think if you take someone's life, your life should be taken. But at the same time, I think that's too easy. I think he should have to live out the rest of his days in prison if he's in fact guilty, and the rest of eternity in hell.
Even with this arrest, Lexington police are still seeking information in this case. They ask anyone who may have information about the death of Goldia Massey to give them a call. Live in Lexington, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Police also removed Charles's 2 dogs from that property. Animal control took them for the time being.
Tonight we are learning more about a threat police say someone made against the Eastern Kentucky University campus. Police say the threat implied harm against the university community on a specific date. As Jordan Valines tells us from Richmond, EKU police have issued a public safety alert.
It was here on the first floor of the Combs building on EKU's campus where officials say that someone left a terroristic threatening message on one of the stalls in the gentleman's bathroom. Around 9:30 Monday night, the EKU Police Department received a call from a student who'd seen the terroristic threatening message and wanted to report it. According to the public safety alert that was emailed out Tuesday afternoon, the message implied that EKU students and staff would be harmed by gun violence on February 11th of this year.
Given the history of the last 20 years with violence on college campuses, on school grounds, all of us have to take these threats very seriously.
Officials believe the message itself was written at some point during class time hours on Monday, but since that section of the building does not have surveillance, they haven't been able to pinpoint who the person is that's responsible.
I think somebody's just trying to get attention, trying to scare some people more than actually putting a threat out there, being serious about it.
The spokesperson with the university says at this time they do not plan on changing classes on February 11th. In Richmond, Jordan Valines, WKYT.
If found, the person who wrote the message could face terroristic threatening charges. We have some new information tonight about a death investigation in Montgomery County. The Montgomery County coroner tells us an autopsy has been completed on 22-year-old Katrina Craver, but he says the results are inconclusive, so a cause of death still cannot be determined. Police say Craver died after being found unresponsive in the middle of Nest Egg Road last Friday. Investigators say she had head trauma.
Tonight, friends and family are remembering a Rockcastle County man. Investigators say he died in a fire at his home. That fire started early this morning along Low Gap Road near Mount Vernon. Investigators say the victim, 55-year-old Morris Cromer, lived in the home alone. Sam Smith talked to one of Cromer's best friends.
Do anything he could for you.
This is the only picture of Morris Cromer his family could find. All the others burned in the fire. Roger Payne says his good friend was well known and well liked in the area.
Yeah, everybody in here knew him and everybody liked him, and he didn't have an enemy in the world.
Friends and family say Cromer lived alone, and just a couple of hours before the fire, his brother and his sister-in-law were actually inside the house. His family tells me they were sleeping over. Cromer's sister-in-law woke up around 4:30. She and her husband returned to their home. And then about 2 hours later, Cromer's home was on fire. The exact cause of the fire is under investigation, and so is the cause of death.
He gave you his word that he'd be somewhere, he'd do something, he done it.
Those close to Cromer will focus on how he'll be remembered and how he lived his life.
He was always willing to help anybody that he could and do anything he could for anybody.
In Rockcastle County, Sam Smith, WKYT.
Funeral arrangements are still pending, but Cox Funeral Home is handling them.
A Laurel County family learned a fire destroyed their home while they were out of town. Firefighters say there wasn't anything they could do to save the home on Paris Car Road in the Kiwi community. Phil Pendleton tells us what he's learned about that investigation.
A family of three,
very good people,
having to now find good amid the bad.
Blessed that they're all right.
Greg and Debbie Branham and their son were in Lexington for several different medical procedures when they learned that their home had been destroyed by fire.
Just that she's going to be bringing her son home and no home to come to recover.
The fire chief says when they got here, the fire was already totally involved. He says they knew there wasn't much they could do except simply let it burn.
Gutted inside to the point where it is unsafe to make entry, so at this point we've done about all we can do. We're just having to sort of stay out and watch it from here.
Gone from the home when it broke out, the family believes that could be a blessing in disguise.
Thank the Lord, everything is, they're all right.
Still the question of why this happened.
Bad things happen to good and bad people,
No word on a cause.
They was heating with a wood burner down in the basement, so I think they think that's what caused it.
All was lost except the hope of what the future may bring and how this family will lean on each other.
By the help of the Lord. Yeah, you have to trust in Him.
In Laurel County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
The family says they do have insurance, but they do not think it will be enough to cover all their losses.
We have an update tonight on a WKYT investigation we have been tracking for months. A grand jury has decided not to indict a Casey County man in the death of his girlfriend. Police say they found Leah Skipper last year with a gunshot wound to the head. They say her boyfriend, Michael Johnson, was the only other person in the home when she died. The coroner ruled the death a suicide, but the Casey County Sheriff kept the investigation open, and it was presented to a grand jury because of pressure from Skipper's family. Yesterday, a grand jury determined there was not enough evidence to indict Johnson.
It has been helping patients for decades, and soon Lexington Hospital will have a new owner.
Leaders of Cardinal Hill Rehabilitation Hospital say the facility is being sold to Health South. That's a national health system that provides physical rehab services. Cardinal Hill leaders say that selling the hospital was the best decision for them because of rising medical costs and more pressure from regulating agencies. They say that the new ownership will bring new opportunities for the employees.
It opens up a wonderful new world to us relative to access to technology, access to training for our staff.
Cardinal Hill leaders say that patients will not see major changes to services and the hospital will not change its name. They also say prices will not change and no one will lose their jobs. They say the hospital will continue operating as a nonprofit with a community board of directors.
Well, you probably noticed it if you filled up your car today. Gas prices took a huge jump at many gas stations around Lexington. A gallon of regular had been selling for less than $2 a gallon, but it's now increased to $2.39 at many stations. AAA says even with the jump, prices are still more than $1 less than this time last year. So what caused this sudden increase?
It's normal for this time of year. because refineries shut down for maintenance and also to prepare for the summer blends of gasoline every spring. So when they're shut down, their output is decreased somewhat.
Remember, you can find the cheapest gas prices in your area by going to WKYT.com.